Last month, and I'm sure most of you have heard this, right, during the frenzy of the midnight release of the much-anticipated Nintendo Switch 2, employees over at the Staten Island GameStop punctured holes in both the cardboard, the packaging, and the screens of the GameStop, right, as they were stapling on the receipts. This instantly became sort of a hot topic on social media. And then, of course, the CEO of GameStop came up with a brilliant idea. How about we turn this into a positive development? So on July 9th, the company began auctioning off what it's calling authentic relics of Staplegate. Right? And this is crazy. We're up almost to 300 bids on this thing. And the stapler, that's the infamous stapler, it's at $250,000. And here's the good news. All the proceeds will be donated to the Children's Miracle Hospital Network, or Network Hospital. All right, let me bring in now the brains behind this and so many other things. GameStop Chairman and CEO Ryan Cohen. Ryan, I got to just ask you, so someone calls you up and says, Ryan, someone at the Staten Island store is stapling holes in the screen. What were your first thoughts when you heard about this whole thing?
We got limited inventory, and they're damaging our limited inventory.
You thought about it like a shopkeeper. You didn't think about the public relations part of it, huh?
I thought about it as we got to get rid of them.
I got you. Well, I'm sure they're probably watching this show from a sofa somewhere. But I love how you turned this into something positive, right? Something uplifting. And let's be honest, your emergence as a CEO of GameStop has been uplifting. It's created a rock-solid groundswell of believers. And so what I did is so many of them reached out to me on X. I told them they could help me ask you the questions today. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to get the first question to you. It's from a guest. He's one of my favorite guests. He's loaded up on your stock, Kip Herriage. And his question is, share your views on financial engineering in the GameStop way, and give us a snapshot of what GameStop will look like in 5 or 10 years. That's what everybody wants to know.
I don't have a crystal ball, but if you look at where the company was from when I joined the board in January of 2021, and a few $100 million of debt, losing hundreds of millions of dollars, to where the company is today, $9 billion of cash on the balance sheet, and the retail business is running profitably, then, if you may be able to extrapolate and see where we will be in the future, but time will tell. It depends on macro conditions, but we'll see what happens. But we've come a long way in a really short period of time.
You've come a very long way in a short period of time, but I think now everyone's kind of thinking the catalyst, right? A month ago, I took my granddaughter to the American Dream Mall in New Jersey, and it was pretty much empty, except we came up on this one store. It's called Pop Mart. And I mean, it was just brimming with business. These kids were everywhere, and they're doing the collectibles, and they're doing all of this stuff. And I'm thinking, I thought about you. I thought about GameStop immediately. Now, how do you tap into something like that?
I mean, we've moved the business from a big reliance on hardware and software to collectibles. And so we're selling a ton of trading cards, both sports and TCG. And, it's a much more durable business. It's not as cyclical as hardware, which, as you know, it's hit-driven, the software business. Hardware is every 6 to 7 years, and it's TBD in terms of the future of hardware. So we've got a much larger collectibles business today, and generally the business is much more efficient. It's going to be a smaller, less stores, but more profitable company. And most importantly, we're generating profits every single quarter now. So typically in the past, GameStop's only made money in Q3 and in Q4. And actually, when I joined the board and before I joined the board, GameStop was losing money every single year. I mean, it's hard to appreciate what a piece of crap the business was when I joined the board and what was going on in the boardroom and management. But we're making progress.
Yeah, I actually used to use this as a cautionary tale on a company buying back stock and rewarding CEOs with big bonuses while the company was itself failing. So you're absolutely right about the crappy part of it. Let me ask you about these earnings, the last earnings release. It's really, to me, it was pretty evident when the number came out. Everyone was focused on Bitcoin. Right, and everyone thought you would, because you had so much money, that you would have bought more Bitcoin. What's the Bitcoin part of the strategy here?
I mean, I look at it as a hedge against inflation, a hedge against global money printing. We've already made an investment, and we'll see. It depends on the price. So I don't want to lose money. That's the most important thing. And something could be a really intelligent investment at one price, and it could be totally idiotic at another price. So, I haven't called our shots, but we may buy more Bitcoin, or we may not buy more Bitcoin. We'll see what happens.
So it's part of the strategy. Then it's an anti-inflation. It's a hedge against inflation. But if it's the right price, you also see it as an opportunity.
Yeah.
So okay, so you're sitting on $9 billion. I want to share one of the posts we got on X because people are saying, okay, it's a lot of cash, and some want to see you put it to work. One question is, would you consider a dividend or even a special one-time dividend?
The thing with the dividend is you got to pay tax, and so I look at it as I own just over 8% of the company, and granted, we better not do something foolish. But if we don't do something foolish, then we're better off keeping the money in the company and looking for the right opportunity than going and paying a dividend and paying taxes.
You're speaking of looking for these opportunities. Are you? Because it feels you did the hardest part. You cleaned up a business that was awful, but this next leg up. Are you being too cautious? Folks want to know, where are you looking? Where's the magic coming from, the Ryan Cohen magic? Where exactly is that going to come from? Because it's not going to fall in your lap.
It has to be the right time. We are in a position today where the retail business is profitable. Maybe the future value, when you think about GameStop, has more to do. Again, this is a guess, but it may have more to do with how we deploy our balance sheet than the cash that the retail operations will generate. But it needs to be the right time. And, the capital markets are funny. They can go, and this happens every 5 or 10 years. They can go from green to red, and they don't flash yellow. And so, there may be an opportunity tomorrow. You never know. I mean, we could wake up tomorrow and the markets can be down 20%, and GameStop will be in a position to take advantage of those opportunities when they happen. But,
I got you.
We'll look everywhere.
Okay. Listen, that's how we all do our own individual portfolios as well. I want to ask you about shareholder value. And someone said, hey, what about these convertible notes and the dilution that comes with them? Why does GameStop keep doing them, and how does this add to shareholder value?
Well, they only converted a premium, and so we've done these convertible notes at a 30% plus premium, and essentially we're borrowing money at 0%. We're giving a conversion right at 30% plus. So. If someone's willing to lend you money at 0%, then it'd be pretty foolish not to take that money, as long as we don't do something stupid with it.
Right. So obviously we got to talk about short selling. Short selling in GameStop has been legendary. At one point, it probably was valid, considering, again, past management. Just about everyone's asking about three things when it comes to this. First of all, why GameStop? And do you see any form of illegal synthetic shares or whatever it might be, illegal shorting? And what are you doing to fight back against this?
Even from when I made my original investment, I was fascinated at how much hatred there was towards an investment in GameStop. It was one of those things where, you would tell someone, invested in GameStop, and they'd be like, what are you invested in GameStop for? And so there's always been a lot of people on the other side of the trade, and I have my own personal views on it. I think that it's un-American to bet against business, but it's a free market. If you want to be on the other side, no problem. And if things work out, then those shorts ultimately need a cover, and that could ultimately be a good thing. So I don't think it's all bad. I don't really have much respect for short sellers, and someone who's ultimately not smart enough to find someone successful. They have to bet on someone's failure. But if things work out, then they got to cover. So let them short.
Yeah, and I also, to be honest with you, it's the shorts out there, particularly the large organized shorts, they've always had a platform on financial media. So they built these big short positions. Then they go out and bash the companies, which I always thought was sort of unfair as well. Have you looked into any illegal activity with respect to the shorts, the sort of synthetic shares, or anything out there where, a lot of your shareholders are concerned that these shorts never seem to run out of stocks, define these stocks as short?
I'm not scared of the short sellers.
Okay.
They can short the stock. It's okay.
All right. Hey, let's talk about
I'm spending my time on the actual business. Ultimately, the stock will take care of itself. It's really focusing on the business. And frankly, if people are in GameStop and they're looking to make a quick buck, then that's not the investment for them. You should invest in any investment for the long term. If you're day trading, then you take all kinds of risks.
Well, I think by now you know that a large portion of your shareholders are not day trading. They're what we call diamond hands. They believe, and their belief. They believed in initially, I think, to fight the system. To your point, they saw the same hatred that you saw. This hatred from the financial media, this hatred from Wall Street, this hatred from the elites who've looked down on them. They've looked down on small companies, and they've been able to stomp and trample over these people from the beginning of time. So GameStop became sort of this symbol, right? This symbol of fighting back. And people bought into it, right? I bought shares because I wanted to partner with them, not because I believed in GameStop. This is before you even came on board, but because I love to fight back this nation. That's how this country was born. That's why America's the greatest country in the world. So you've got folks who are in there with you. They're in the trenches with you. They are diamond hands, and I'm glad you're on the show today to help share your ideas and your vision, because that's all they really want. Words of encouragement, to understand what's going on with the company, to understand what the game plan is. So that's why I'm really happy that you're doing this right now for them.
You're preaching to the choir. I mean, look, it's all, pardon my French, it's all a scam. You look at private equity, you look at venture capital, you look at all of these pools of capital, which really exploded since the financial crisis. And it's all perverse financial incentives. They don't know whether they make money or not for their LPs. They're getting management fees. So they want to deploy the capital as quick as possible, and they're great at sales, and they're making their 2 and 20. And even if it doesn't go up, then they're still making 2%. I'm a retail investor, so I make money if the stock goes up, and I don't make money just by going and sitting on my hands. I only make money if the business does well. So that was the setup of the trade. You basically had all of these elites, fancy hedge funds and private equity and everyone else who knows who was shorting the stock, and then you had myself as a retail trader, and you had a bunch of other retail traders on the other side of the trade.
Yeah, and to your point, I point this out at least once a week, probably more often, since 2009, how everything has changed. The financialization of our nation, where money just creates money, and it's all about gimmicks and product, and instead of real, true innovation and hard work. And that brings me to something I just want to get you to share a little bit, Ryan, just your own personal background, your own personal success story, because I think it's really something that can motivate a lot of people.
Where do you want me to start?
Well, we've got about a 5-minute window, so you decide.
I built this pet food company. I had an idea to sell 30-pound bags of dog food in the mail, and we ended up going head-to-head against Amazon, built a bunch of big warehouses, and ultimately ended up delivering a really high-touch, better experience focused on the pet category. And I've always been an entrepreneur. I learned from the best. My father never went to college. And thank God, by the way, if you look at what's going on now in the colleges today. So that's a competitive advantage, too, as far as I'm concerned. But I've always been an entrepreneur, and I invested in GameStop originally as a passive investment, actually. And as I engaged with the board, they had originally reached out to me to join, and they offered me a single board seat. And I was, and ultimately just be a patsy, one of whatever 10 or a dozen people on the board. And as I really got an understanding for what goes on in these corporate boardrooms, where you've got these board members that are collecting, I think on average, like $350,000 a year, the average board director makes in the S&P 500, just to serve on a board and to do absolutely no work. And so as I saw what was going on, and everything was in the name of corporate governance, there was nothing about the business or shareholders or anything like that, I felt like I needed to file a 13D and really just clean out the boardroom. And so today we've got a much smaller board, and we've got a significant portion of our board that's invested in the company with their own money, and there's no compensation. And we'll see what happens with GameStop. Hopefully things work out well.
Well, I can tell you, hopefully, everyone's hopeful, but I tell you, just listening to you and knowing your background and just knowing who you are, we feel pretty good and pretty confident that things will work out. Just have to have the right patience. Ryan, I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much, and much success to you.
Charles, I want to say that, I don't do much with the mainstream media, but, I know we've spoken in the past, and I like you. You're a good guy. So we need more people like you in the mainstream media.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thanks, Ryan.
All right. Good to see you.
See you soon.